Okay, how are you guys? How are you guys? This is Sunko. What's up, y'all? Today is September 17th. As you can see, I didn't bring anything tonight. I already had 2 chickens tonight because I had small party. Let me tell you why I had small party myself. I won't have to go to work for few days from now on. I mean, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I don't have to go to work because chuseok is coming and chuseok will last for a few days. Chuseok is known as a Korean Thanksgiving Day. It's one of the most important holidays of the year in Korea, and the holiday period lasts for like 3 days, including the day before and the day after. So 3 days, which is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and but because of COVID, you know, like the coming Chuseok will look a bit different because but if it weren't Chuseok, people would gather and they would find traffic jam as people normally drive from Seoul to their hometown. And in their hometown they would have like songpyeon, which is traditional Korean food too, and also they would share gifts and they will look at the full moon and make wishes. It's what we do in Chuseok, but since Corona is really serious these days, even Korea government has asked people not together, and people are aware of the danger. So mm, normally, people, mm, the people would, tend to stay at home rather than go out. It's unfortunate that hardly do you ever see family with Corona going on, right? But that's what it is. Shit, Corona. But there's nothing else we can do. Oh. But Thanksgiving Day is a big holiday. That's what I wanted you to know. And the reason I had chicken tonight was because of Chuseok next coming week. Mm. So since I'm really full, I didn't bring anything tonight. Uh, I'm going to show you another food next Monday. Because I'll still have planned to do a YouTube live on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So far, that's what I'm thinking of. If plan change, then I will let you know for sure. Okay, reading time. So far, let me tell you the story. The story that has happened. Uh, the main character, Rainsford, he's in danger. And Rainsford is now one-on-one with the guy named Zaroff, General Zaroff. Um, General Zaroff loves hunting, and he also likes the fact that Rainsford is expert at hunting. So pretty much, Zaroff asks Rainsford um, to do battle, and it seems like Rainsford in danger, and Zaroff is now playing around with um, Rainsford. I mean, Zaroff is playing around with Rainsford. We'll see how the end goes, because obviously, the down below here it says the time left in books is 6 minutes. So I think that I'm going to read this book for only 6 minutes, and then the story will be over. Okay, let's wrap up the story, and I'll tell you what I think of it. Okay? At daybreak, Rainsford, lying near the swamp, was awakened by a sound that made him know that he had new things to learn about fear. It was a distant sound, faint and wavering, but he knew it. It was the baying of a pack of hounds. Rainsford knew he could do one of two things. He could stay where he was and wait. That was suicide. He could flee. That was postponing the inevitable. For a moment he stood there, thinking. An idea that held a wild chance came to him, and tightening his belt, he headed away from the swamp. The baying of the hounds drew nearer, then still nearer, nearer, even nearer. On a ridge, Rainsford climbed the tree, down a watercourse, not a quarter of a mile away. He could see the bush moving. Straining his eyes, he saw the lean figure of General Zaroff just ahead of him. Rainsford made out another figure whose wide shoulders surged through the tall jungle weeds. It was a giant even, and he seemed pulled forward by some unseen face. Rainsford knew that even must be holding the pack in leash. They would be on him any minute now. His mind worked frantically. He thought of a native trick he had learned in Uganda. He slid down the tree. He caught hold of a springy young sapling, and to it he fastened his hunting knife. With the blade pointing down the trail, with a bit of wild grapevine he tied back the sapling. Then he ran for his life. The hounds raised their voices as they hit the fresh scent. Rainsford knew now how an animal at bay feels. He had to stop to get his breath. The baying of the hounds stopped abruptly, and Rainsford's heart stopped too. They must have reached the knife. He shinned excitedly up a tree and looked back. His pursuers had stopped, but the hope that was in Rainsford's brain when he climbed died, for he saw in the shallow valley that General Zaroff was still on his feet. But even was not. The knife, driven by the recoil of the springing tree, had not wholly failed. Rainsford had hardly tumbled to the ground when the pack took up the cry again. Nerve, 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 he panted as he dashed along. A blue gap showed between the trees dead ahead, ever nearer. Drew the hounds. Rainsford forced himself on toward that gap. He reached it. It was the shore of the sea. Across a cove, he could see the gloomy gray stone of the chateau. 20 feet below him, the sea rumbled and hissed. Rainsford hesitated. He heard the hounds. Then he leaped far out into the sea. When the general and his pack reached the place by the sea, the Cossack stopped. For some minutes he stood regarding the blue-green expanse of water. He shrugged his shoulders, then he sat down, took a drink of brandy from a silver flask, lit a cigarette, and hummed a bit from Madame Butterfly. General Zaroff had an exceedingly good dinner in his great panelled dining hall that evening. With it he had a bottle of Paul Roger and half a bottle of Chambertin. Two slight annoyances kept him from perfect enjoyment. One was a thought that it would be difficult to replace even. The other was that his quarry had escaped them. Of course, the American hadn't played the game. So thought the general as he tasted his after dinner liquor. In his library, he read, to soothe himself from the works of Marcus Aurelius. At 10, he went up to his bedroom. He was deliciously tired, he said to himself as he locked himself in. There was a little moonlight, so before turning on his light, he went to the window and looked down at the courtyard. He could see the greyhounds, and he called better luck another time to them. Then he switched on the light. A man who had been hiding the curtains of the bed was standing there. Rainsford, screamed the general. How in God's name did you get here? Swam, said Rainsford. I found it quicker than walking through the jungle. The general sucked in his breath and smiled. I congratulate you, he said. You have won the game. Rainsford did not smile. I'm still abashed at bay, he said in a low, hoarse voice. Get ready, General Zaroff. The general made one of his deepest bows. I see, he said. Splendid. One of us is to furnish a repast for the hounds. The other will sleep in this very excellent bed. On guard, Rainsford. He had never slept in a better bed, Rainsford decided. Okay. The story abruptly ended. I've got to look at the Google or and search for the meaning of the story. The end is so sudden, right? If you hear me well, the story was smooth at first, and then it has become tense, and then all of a sudden it finished. Since this is short story, writer must have mm, must have not put an. Of course, he put an effort into it, but it seems that mm, he has not put an effort into this compared to the other stories that he has written. That's what I think. I cannot change the book right away because it takes time. I've got to look at the stories that they have. I mean, public domain books, of course, in this case. I've got to look it up and see what's interesting, and I've got to download and transfer it into this ebook, and this whole process takes time. So I'm going to finish tonight, and I'll see you on Monday with new book. Next time I'll bring another kinds of books. We'll see what I'm going to read. Okay. Okay. Wrap it up tonight, and see you on Monday. Okay. Bye bye.